Who is going to complete Winners' Day for us, your commentary team, Phil Yates.
Thanks, Faye. It is always good when a group comes down to the last match. Even more spice involved here because the match happens to feature the current world #1. Can he become the 8th and final player into finals day tomorrow? If Ford were to do it, boy, that would be some turnaround.
Tom, do you want to call? It's ahead, your choice, Judd. Okay. We're ready? Good game, Judd. Good game, Tom. The first frame, Judd Trump to break.
Can Trump take another step towards adding to his already extraordinary list of ranking titles? Mark, based on the form they've displayed so far today, you have to make Trump a big favourite, but if Tom Ford keeps knocking in balls like that, we might be revising our opinion.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen so far today, you would make Judd. He looked like he was getting into his groove a little bit in the last match, but you know, Tom can turn it on at any point. So you know, it's a short format, so Tom's more than capable. He knows what he's got to do, and I mean, I think, you know, Judd only needing the draw but not phase him. He plays the same way either way. So
Four.
I think it'll be a very open game, and I don't think it'll take too long, whatever the score. It was a great read from Tom there to give himself his early chance.
5.
I'm sure he thought that one was in, but only the pace.
$12. 13.
Purposely leaving himself low on this red at the bottom of the pack. This should open a few more reds up.
20. Foul.
I think what we're seeing on table 1 is bound to be quicker than what we're seeing on table 2.
21.
The last frame of the day in that group, Peter Lyons against Fergal O'Brien, has already been going for over 40 minutes, but it looks like we're about to come to a conclusion. Lyons leading by 31 points. Now the Browns in. That's that. So Lyons 2-1 up. One more frame to go.
9. 15 on the frame. Peter Lyons. 28.
There you see, 42 minutes it will be rounded up to. That's the second 42-minute frame we've had today.
29.
Generally, though, the exchanges have been fluid, and we've seen more centuries today than in any other day of the tournament.
Nice cannon there from Tom. Sure where the pink's going to go. Oh, I think he's still on the straight red into the corner. Oh, he's got the one with in the opposite corner with the vest. It's a good chance now.
Just one footnote on the table 2 action we've just seen. Peter Lyons is now guaranteed a draw against Fergal O'Brien. That means Lyons will finish 3rd in the group. O'Brien will be 4th.
36. 43. .44.
Good stuff this from Tom. Long red and still going. He's taking these really well. Always been a heavy scorer though, Tom. It's his strength of his game is his scoring.
49. .50.
Cue that, lovely. Zip right the way through the pack. Couple of choices
57.
here.
.58.
It's really rare for a player to lose their opening match and win a group. It's really rare for a player to lose any match and win a group. We saw it yesterday actually with Kyron Wilson, but he was safe and secure on 6 points when he was beaten by Matthew Stevens last time
61.
out. Funnily enough, we've just seen Peter Lyons on table 2. He won a group on the opening day back in mid-July when he lost his first match. But it doesn't happen too often.
66. .67.
Yeah, really good stuff this from Tom.
72.
Another frame lost for leaving a red off the bake off. He puts a long red and this is the result.
73. .80. .81.
How can a player who toiled
.88.
so badly in his first match suddenly start to knock them in like this?
.89.
That's the game, Mark.
Yeah, that is the game. I mean, yeah, you know, the reality is Tom is a top player, and you know, the performances he showed earlier aren't really the player we know he is. So he's always capable of this
92.
kind of snooker. This is what he plays more often than not. This kind of scoring.
93.
Fantastic break. He's never really been in massive trouble during this break. He's got on with it as well. It hasn't taken very long.
97. 99. .102.
It's a short frame format, and yet, Mark, how about this? That's the 10th century of the day on both tables.
That is some going, that.
106.
Like you say, in such short formats, you expect to get a few scrappy frames because people realise, especially the early frames, how important they are. 10 centuries in a day is very
111.
impressive.
.117.
Tom Ford sending out a message loud and clear.
Tom Ford 124 and a frame.
Judd Trump will be fully extended to top this group. Of course, he yet could, but now Tom Ford is right back in the reckoning. Boy, did he take that frame so well. He leads Judd Trump 1-0. Tom Ford in top gear in our first frame today.
The second frame, Tom Ford to break.
Got straight in and made a scintillating century. As I said during the frame, that was the 10th century of the day. Now, how about this, Mark? At the first ever Crucible in 1977, in the entire championship, all of the players combined for 6 centuries.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that. That's some stat for. I don't know where you get this stuff from. It's amazing, but yeah, look, the game has moved on. It's much more of a pretty much that frame that Tom just played. Long potting and trying to win the frame in one visit, high scoring. That's just kind of the way it's been. The game's been for the last number of years, really. But it's just getting more and more like it every year. It seems to be more aggressive and more attacking style of snooker.
And Judd Trump is so good if he starts getting outrageous flukes like that. Well, anything's possible.
6.
Yeah, as late as 1984, the total centuries at the Crucible in that championship, 8.
Wow,
7.
That is amazing. I mean, you know, the game was different there. There was really is picking the reds off and not really going into the pack like, you know, Judd and the rest of them do now. Or so kind of when Stephen Hendry, you know, came on and was bashing into the pack off the blue. That wasn't really the game they played in the 80s. It was just so it's difficult to get a lot of century breaks when you're not playing that kind of aggressive snooker that is played now. And the standard is high as well, which obviously is quite a big factor.
Yeah, I think one of the problems they encountered in the 80s, it was difficult to break the balls up then in comparison with today.
13.
And even Trump, with that particular shot on the pink, running through, just couldn't dislodge the reds enough.
Yeah, that was tough with the pink Judd here. He had to get so much topspin on that to get it through the reds.
Trump 13.
It was really tough to do him for Judd. It's a bit of a loose safety though. He's left on this red near the pocket. I'm not really too sure why. Tom knows the table's rolling off. He's been going on about it a lot to me upstairs, so I'm not really too sure why. I know normally you would want to play that shot at that pace, but when you know the table's moving, you should be playing them harder and eliminating a lot of the throw-offs. I mean, maybe he was trying to allow for it. I don't really know, but it's not the kind of thing you want to be doing, allowing for, you know, movement on the table. I think you just pick your line and just have to hit the cue ball harder so it doesn't deviate.
Well, he didn't leave anything to chance there in terms of deviation, playing at that pace, but the red wobbled and now Trump could be in, should be in.
One.
Yeah, I mean, he had no choice but to hit that red harder because he knew he was careering into other balls for that, but I think he would have played it, you know, a lot more pace anyway. It is, you know, frustrating. Obviously, Tom feels that the table is rolling off in certain areas, and it is sort of frustrating him a little bit. You can see it for most of the day, to be honest.
6. Seven.
This is what I'll say. What Tom Ford is complaining about is valid. The table is rolling off, but continually getting upset, allowing it to get under your skin, does you no good.
No, it doesn't do you any good, and you know,
14.
again, going back to that red, he played at a soft pace. It's not ideal to change his shot choice, you know, because of the conditions, but you know, on that particular shot, I think if he knows the table's rolling off a little bit, he has to play it harder. There's a good chance that particular shot would deviate a little bit anyway.
Time. 50. $22.
Yeah, that's far from perfect. Got the action on the cue ball, but not. Left himself a couple of options, were both tricky. The cut back into the corner, or the red below the black, and that could be just flicking off the red just below it. It's not guaranteed position. I think the cut back in the corner is more favourable for position anyway.
$23.
Extremely dependable on that kind of shot, Trump. But again, the kiss not quite to his liking. Now the green's in though. He's looking good once more.
$26.
Yeah, he just can't get this cue ball like he normally does on a string. He's just fighting to get good position at the moment. And again, he's gone too far there on the ball. He potted the red thin, to be fair. That's why he's got the extra pace on the cue ball. So he needs another good shot to get good position. It's a good line. It's not bad. He may play it right-handed. He's quite good
32.
using the opposite hand. Outside it with the rest.
Yeah, I think when he's playing with a degree of power, he prefers the rest to switching hands. Ooh, but the red goes astray, and now
Judd Trump, 32.
maybe renewed hope for Ford.
Wow.
Can he get through to a red? If he can't, I'll tell you what, Trump's been so lucky if he's blocked both reds.
First glance, I think he has. Oh, maybe not. No, he didn't. No, the red in the middle.
1. $6.
And at the business end of the table, this is where Ford usually excels.
7.
Yep, it is Phil. Normally, if Tom's playing like he normally does,
14.
there'd be no way back for Judd in this frame. Even though he's
15.
got what looks like a nice lead.
$22. 23. $30. 31.
He needed to move that red near the pink at some point, so he just decided to play a soft cannon there.
38.
It's kind of a little bit awkward. I mean, any time you're using these implements, it does make it a bit tricky. All he had to do was drop it in, so nothing to do with the
39.
dribble. So fantastic chance now.
First things first, if Trump loses this frame, if Ford wins it,
46.
it will mean that Ford is guaranteed second place at the expense of Jimmy Robertson.
47.
But of course the main prize, topping the group, that would be Ford's next objective.
54. 55.
Yeah, a little bit straight on the blues. It's gone a little bit further than he wanted. And the yellows for position. I think he's still okay. Didn't quite hit there as he wanted to.
57. 59.
Leading 45-0, Trump missed a mid-range red with the rest.
62.
And now Ford has this elementary brown to basically lead 2-0.
66.
He will be fully stretched to gain the draw he needs.
71. Tom Ford 77 and the frame.
It really is excellent stuff from Tom Ford. 124 break in the first frame, a 77 clearance from well behind in the second, and all of a sudden Judd Trump, the world number one, finds himself in a spot of bother. This evening, at the conclusion of Table 1, we won't be going over to Table 2 because the play is over there for the day. The final result to come in, Peter Lyons and Fergal O'Brien played out a 2-all draw. O'Brien getting a point against Lyons with a 68 break in the fourth frame. So all of that means this: Mark Allen, the star of the show today, a whole succession of big breaks. He only lost one frame. He claimed a maximum 9 points. He wins the group Ricky Walden, who won one match against Fergal O'Brien with 3 centuries.
Okay.
He played nicely to finish second. Lyons occupies third.
The third frame.
Fergal
Judd
O'Brien
Trump to
brings
break.
up the rear. So that's Group B sorted out. What about Group A? Well, Stuart Carrington will finish 4th. Jimmy Robertson will finish 3rd. But the top 2 places are yet to be determined. A possible 2 frames to go here. Ford needs one of them. Trump, to finish top of the group, requires both.
One.
Well, for the second frame in succession, Mark, Trump flukes the opening red.
It's just not fair, is it? When you're that good and you're fluking balls as well, it's just... Oh, that's amazing, find that gap.
3.
Hard to stop the cue. We had to play some little cannon just to, you know, stop the pace of the cue ball. This is a tough red now if he goes for it on the black cushion. There's a red in the middle, but they're both very tough.
Well, the red across the top cushion is tough under any circumstances. Played slow, this is perilous because it does tend to pull away to the right-hand jaw. There you go. Just enough.
Judd Trump 3.
Yeah, that was a tough point. He went all out for it. He knew he was going to be leaving Tom a chance if he missed it. The way Tom's been scoring so far. This is a good chance. Oh, straight away, he just wanted to get past the brown. He just potted it a bit thick. The natural angle would have gone past the brown, but because he potted it the red a bit thicker, he just narrowed the angle a little bit. That's that second prize with the red over the pocket. Judd's in a lot of trouble here. The obvious one would be baulk cushion, side cushion, just miss the blue and he's got to try and get to the red over the pocket. He can't leave that there. There might be a line there. Yeah, I just think that red was always in the way. I think you can get through to the red over the pocket. I think the black still goes in the opposite corner pocket. So if your pod system gets on the black, again, it's looking good for Tom. And he played that well, played that very well. It's always tricky when a ball's over the pocket to get position.
And actually being forced to cue over the green there might have helped, might have facilitated the way the cue ball reacted off the top cushion and stayed very nicely on the black.
Eight. Sure. 9.
It's very rare, Tom, when he's in the balls like this, like that red he's just potted there. It's very rare he's the wrong side, you know, with regards to the wrong side of there going up for the blue. He's always higher, so he's always going to stay on the black. I think that's why he's such a good break builder. They always stand around the black spot. Which a lot of people would be low on that kind of shot and then have to go up for the blue, and then you can start losing position,
16.
and then the pots get harder and harder, and you end up missing. But very rare he's the wrong side of
17.
position on the next red. It's always an angle to come back down for the black. And probably why he's had 5 maximum breaks in competition as well.
He's beaten Trump 4 times
24.
previously. The total head-to-head in favour of Trump is
25.
10-4. For a
36.
silky positional player, that wasn't his best. The cue ball much nearer the side cushion than he wanted it to, and the knock-on effect was missing the red.
Tom Ford 32.
Yeah, that was very unlike Tom there, Phil. He's normally pinpoint, and that was a really loose one. That was a tough red. He left himself having to play it with pace. Always tricky from tight on the cushion.
Ford's most remarkable win over Trump was in 2010, the year before Trump broke through by winning the China Open. Ford won 10-3 when they met in the final qualifying round of the World Championship, having led 9-1 at one stage. But of course, Trump is a very different proposition these days, and he won't be giving up the ghost.
One.
Good best shot from Judd there.
Judd Trump 1.
That's no good, but I mean, I fancy Tom to just rest on this red on the black cushion. I'll be very surprised if he leaves an opportunity here. There's a little bit more pace in the cue ball than I think he planned. He's left Judd a chance at this red. It's not easy. You have to play it with quite a bit of pace to get out for a colour. And it always makes it difficult when you're playing hitting the ball that hard. Worse, they've always gone over to the other side's pocket. Again, good chance for Tom.
Yeah, when Ford left that, I thought Trump would probably be tempted. And we've seen time and again at pace into that pocket. It's so difficult.
One.
Play a little cannon here if this goes right. This could be the beginning of the end.
6.
It's got a little bit awkward. Unless he can get that red to the middle. If he can't, he's got to play the red in the corner, and he's slightly hampered queuing.
Seven.
Yeah, that's a good shot from Tom. Good solid pot there, and that could be the winner, in all honesty.
12. $13.
Ford's starter motor played up this morning. Just couldn't get out of the garage. But then in his second match he started to rev. And now he's playing like a Rolls Royce.
18. Yeah,
very impressive for he's missed very little and very impressive performance in a match he had to win.
$24. $25.
Both groups tomorrow are now known. On table 1 it will be Kyron Wilson, Bai Lang Ning, Mark Allen and
30.
the conqueror of the world number 1, Tom Ford.
31.
I wouldn't go as far as to say he'll be smiling after this, but he must be very happy. It's hard to get a smile out of Tom most of the time, to be fair. This is a good performance, and
37.
he takes his form into tomorrow, he'd be a handful. He could go all the way. You know, he's that good a player.
He's had a moan about the table rolling off, but
44.
he stays on for one more day.
45.
The day that really matters. And what a juncture to hit form.
51.
When you've got to beat Judd Trump to top the group, and you do so with
53.
considerable aplomb.
$56.
One of those players like David Gilbert, like Jack Lazowski, who's always in the conversation when it comes to the finest player yet to win a world ranking title.
60.
Or maybe the wait for Ford will end right here in his hometown tomorrow.
65. $71. 78. Frame in the
You've
match.
heard the
Tom
song,
Ford.
what a difference a day makes for Tom Ford.
Cheers, Tom.
What a difference a match made. His first was poor, his last was excellent. Tom Ford tops the group at the expense of Judd Trump. 3-0.
Okay.
Mightily impressive. We did not anticipate this. We saw a match where we might see plenty of high scoring, but we thought Judd Trump would do the majority of it. They could not have been further from the truth. Ford started off terrifically with a break of 124. Then he raised a 45-point deficit with a 77 clearance. And he didn't wilt in frame 3. Judd Trump eliminated. Tom Ford delighted.
Well, what an amazing day of snooker we've had. It certainly did not disappoint, did it? 10 centuries across both tables, and we have our final 2 winners who are into the last 8, and stage 3, Winners' Day, which is tomorrow. So Mark Allen won Group B, and against the odds, really, Tom Ford won Group A. This is how he did it. He lost his opening match without winning a frame against Stuart Carrington, but came out fighting against Jimmy Robertson, taking that 3-0, and then took his opportunity against the world number 1, Judd Trump, to win the group impressively with 6 points. Now then, the Winners' Day is complete. So Group 1, Tom Ford right at the top there.